He knew you'd come. Guan-shik, you are a manipulator. And I love you for it. Hey guys, it's your girl Aisha, aka Geek XX Chic, and we're here with another reaction to When Life Gives You Tangerines. We are now on to episode 12, which is called A Glistening Winter. So we're making our way through the seasonal cycle now. We've had a spring, we've had a summer. I don't know if we had an actual fall, but we're into winter. Anyways. But yes, in the last episode, we basically see just the longest breakup ever, basically. Gum-young finally ended things with Yeonbum, and it was not an easy thing for her to do. 7 years, a lot of feelings, a lot of experiences, but in the end, it was never going to be okay between the two of them because Yeonbum unfortunately just could not make that decision to prioritize Gum-young and her feelings and her family over his mom's very narrow-minded view. So yes, in the end, he did what his mother wanted, and we see that his future unfortunately didn't turn out the way he would have liked. But, you know, for our girl who we're focusing on, Gum-young, she definitely dodged a bullet by not marrying into a family that was never going to accept her. So that's kind of how we ended things. After seeing kind of all the trials and tribulations of that relationship. And now we can go into this one and see where we're going to go from there. See who she actually ends up maybe walking down the aisle with now that we know it's not going to be Yeonbum. So I'm ready to jump into the episode. But just before I do, a reminder that if you'd like to be in the know when I drop episodes, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. All right, that out of the way, let's get into the episode right now.
돈 들여보냈지.
That is unfortunately the first steps to starting to hoard things. Sometimes you have to let things go even if you paid for them. Oh yeah, there would have been wedding invitations. Oh, that's what she's not willing to throw away. That makes sense.
김치도 없냐? 애들 다 파혼한 거 다 알지. 야, 뭘 먹고 사는 거냐?
Who's this now?
그 가슴이 아프다는 게 그냥 말로만 터는 게 아니었다? 진짜 아파.
I mean, that's why they call it broken.
아빠.
So are you saying there's no kimchi or...
집에 전화나 해.
Thank you.
호로 자식아.
Thank you. Someone needs to remind her. Oh God, that fridge needs to be de-iced badly.
나한테는 연락 안 오고? 알았어. 말 안 할게.
I mean, it's right for her to ask because you know that Gum-young has probably checked on him too.
나한테도 말 좀 하지. 나한테 다 털어놓지.
컸다고 그러지.
Well, there's that, but how much do you open up to people, though? To be fair, hey, son.
나만 찾더니 이제는 나한테만 말을 안 해줘.
Oh,
나만 따돌려.
that is the way it goes sometimes. It's because y'all are so close, or you know each other so well.
진짜 비밀인데 나 김정근 좋아해.
Ooh.
결혼할 수도 있어.
Okay, girl, tell me the tea. Yes, what else? You have to tell mom, because if you tell dad, Jungkook may not make it out of elementary school.
우리 금명이 조금만 천천히 컸으면 좋겠다.
That is the way it goes.
지금이 너무 예뻐서.
Exactly. And
너무 예뻐서.
this time in their lives when they're so obsessed with you.
그럼 나 엄마랑 비밀 친구인데.
정말?
Only she kept that promise.
엄마는 우리 금명이?
그럼 엄마는 누구 좋아해?
I would hope it's your dad.
나보다?
아니? 엄마는 세상에서 우리
She's not lying about that.
근데 사실 나도 엄마 제일 좋아.
정말?
Guan-shik kicked to the curb.
내가 그냥 앞으로 참았어. 나는 엄마를 사랑해.
Aww. Cute.
회사 다니는데 주말에 왔다 가기가 쉽나. 저도 피곤하지.
Always making excuses for her.
엄마.
Finally.
가. 엄마 밥이 먹고 싶어졌다.
They're like, play cool, play cool.
아 배고파.
밥 있어.
Aww. They're so excited.
장조림 한솥 했어. 아빠가 어제부터 넣어준다고 메추리알 다 까고.
He has been. So you better eat.
창구야.
Sit on the cushion, please. Thank you. Let them fuss over you.
집안이 얼마나 적막했을지, 얼마나 외로웠을지.
Where is their son, come to think of it? I haven't seen him young at all. I don't think he's moved out by this point yet, but... You have to eat all of that, Gumyoung. Every last bite. Oh,
먹고 또 자.
and your
먹고.
pea
응?
corn. Or your pea rice.
그냥 간단하게 국수를 때우자.
But you know what? She probably hasn't been eating properly.
이게 간단한 거야?
It is. For your mom. She's got nothing else to do. Eat!
호빵.
She's like, guys,
속이 다쳐온
I'm
딸을
about to have some weight problems.
엄마 보고 싶어서 내려왔겠지.
She did.
그래 이놈아.
She did miss her mama. No shame in admitting that. Oh my god, more food?
방어. 진짜 방어.
가짜 방어도 있어.
Don't you dare yell at them.
오빠, 나 진짜 살쪄.
You'll lose it in no time once you get back to your life.
내가 세상에서 100g도 사라지지 않게.
That's right.
왜?
What's up, punk?
군대 가니까 누나 보고 싶냐?
Always in the military.
너 차였지? 네가 차인 거지?
Oh!
영범.
That sounds about right. I was really surprised.
일어나봐.
How long has she been in bed now?
아빠랑 어디 좀 가게 해.
Go with your daddy. No, go now.
피곤하다고.
You need to get out. Come on, you're in a funk, girl.
자.
How can you scold your father? Gosh, looks like a puppy. Thank you.
새벽 4시에도 발딱 일어났었다.
He knew you'd come.
나올 줄 알았지.
Guanxik, you are a manipulator. And I love you for it. He's like, I know if I just act all sad and puppy-like, she gonna come.
오늘 휴무야.
아빠가?
구름이
He's there to
없다길래.
spend time with his daughter.
너?
너 안 자고 싶은 놈이 세상에 어딨어.
근데 뭘 이렇게 혼자 일찍 배를 띄워?
Because he's got things to take care of.
엄마 아빠 항신 옆에다 배 띄우고 있어. 배고프면
Look at him.
5번 생각도 말고 내려와.
Bet you didn't know Guanxik was a poet.
동네 창피해서 어떡해.
Never. Your dad does not even know what embarrassment
아빠는
means.
네가 그 집 들어가는 게 더.
Thank you.
아빠는 네가 안 할 줄 알았어. 아빠는 다 알아. 그런 집에서 나왔으면 참 다 해줬을 걸. 별거 다. 속 다칠 일
You
없어.
guys do that
그럼
too.
다음 세상엔 내 아빠 하지 마.
Damn. Really, Gumyoung? You're lucky your dad's used to rough edges.
신나지. 아빠 너 있어서 하나 안 힘들었어.
It's true.
아빠가 가진 거 100개 중에 나한테 막 120개를 줘.
He's not keeping score.
어떻게 더 줘? 그러니까 부자 아빠 어쩌고 소리 하지도 마.
아빠 무릎이 다 안 아프네.
아 아프면 병원에 가 병원에. 팠으면 뭐 다 되는 줄 알아?
There you go. She's turned into A-son.
너 시집 안 가도 좋아. 아니.
I don't know any dad that wants his daughter to get married.
아빠는 장가 가서 맨날 좋으면서 왜
Period.
나보고 자꾸 가지 말래?
Thank you. Right? You can't have your perfect marriage and tell me not to get married, sir. Near perfect. Near perfect.
아빠 옆이 얼마나 따뜻했는 줄을 알게 됐다.
That is a very good word to describe Guanxik as well. He's very warm. Steadfast and warm. Oh my god, you're still alive, bro?
너 엄마 공부 열심히 해.
아빠 내가 도와줘?
너 엄마 너 엄마랑 똑같이 생겨가지고.
Your obsession with my mother.
일요일인데 배 띄워요?
마돌로스한테 일요일이 어딨어?
Oh, you're a seaman now?
집에서 또 나가래요.
Right? Did your wife say get out of the house because I can't stand you?
집집마다 하풍이 달라.
너가 뭐야 너가.
No one asked you. You got into our conversation, bro.
일단 지금은 똑같은 선장이잖아요.
Exactly.
아니에요?
You know, it doesn't matter where you start, bro. It's where you end.
저놈의 집구석은 하여튼 그냥 하여튼 씨.
They're what?
우리
You're
아저씨
so jealous.
일 안 합니다.
He's so in love with A-Sun even now. That's what's so annoying. All of this is because he wishes A-Sun was his wife. Yeah, well, you're a miserable sod, so that's why you're
야,
like
근데
this.
왜 아빠 손을 잡고 다녀?
Oh, because your daughters hate you? Maybe you should figure... Look inward, sir. Look inward.
너 저기 일 없으면 새벽에 아버지랑
Have you ever taken her on a boat once?
저기
인부 써요.
Period.
뭐?
나도 바빠요.
Got a life. Can't just butt into it now.
내가 대주 영창 보내. 나 장군 친구 있어.
Really?
안 창피해요?
엄마?
Tell
아버지는 오만
him.
여자 다 만나고 다니면서 나는 하나도 오만하게 하는 게 꿈에도 아니냐고. 어차피 아버지가 내 인생 쫓아놨고 아버지 평생 나랑 한번 살아봐.
You really want her taking care of you into your old age with that feeling, that sentiment, Dad?
똑바로 다시 못 닫아!
And wind. That is your child, sir. Look at the mom now. Oh, should I step in?
저기
뭐? 또 시끄럽다고? 여긴 네 집이야? 너 진짜 뭔 공부하는데 깝짝대는데?
She's making sure she can get herself set up after your ass kicks it.
저녁 좀 먹고 들어와요.
She said
요새 왜
stay
밥을 집에서
out of the
먹으려고 해?
house.
다 불편하게.
Ooh,
다 불편해?
her silent rebellion. I'm loving it.
킹땅집 아들이 최재성 닮았대.
Oh, wow.
근데
Handsome.
잘생겨야 돼.
음.
잘생기면 못생긴 놈보다 훨씬 덜 싸우게.
Pretty privilege is real.
태어난 지 1년 됐어.
I mean, a year is a significant amount of time.
응? 막 벌써 막 응? 모양 빠지지
A year's,
않아요?
I mean, I guess after 7, but still, a year's a long time.
알면 어쩌라고.
Exactly. They need to mind their business.
왜 안 돌렸어?
그냥
She's like, I was praying you broke up with that man. That's why.
왠지 네가 엎을 것 같아서.
Yeah. They know you. Both your parents know you.
내가 너를 그렇게 키웠거든.
Period. They like, we did not raise you to be a doormat, girl. We just needed you to realize that you're not a doormat.
야, 우리 금명이가 상 차리는 사람 되지 말고 상을 막 엎고 살았어.
Period. Let you have all the things that they didn't want you to have.
금명아, 더 달달달달 타야지. 달달달달.
Not down the hill, ma'am.
너무 착한 눈으로 맨날 나만 반실반실 보고 있는데
Good for you, mom. Good
내가 어떻게 내
example.
멋대로 살아.
You raise them honest, they'll be good people.
청첩장에 왜 꼭 그렇게 쓰는지 알 것 같았다. 나는 그들의
Period.
금명이었다.
No one gets to look down on that. No one.
너 잘못한 거 하나 없어. 똥 피하는 것도 다 네 운이지 뭐.
Exactly. Avoided a pile of crap. No, the situation was. Not him, the situation.
너 옛날에 김정근이 너랑 짝꿍 안 해줬을 때도 3박 4일
She even
울었잖아.
remembers your first crush?
원래 첫사랑은 간직하는 맛이래잖아.
Oh, in your case, you married your first love?
응, 첫사랑.
If you're lucky. If you're lucky.
살아.
Exactly.
지금 재미날 때 얼마나 아까워.
Yeah, you're still in your 20s, girl. What you wasting your beauty and your youth for? But yeah, when she said that you're wasting yours too, Mom, I keep forgetting that A's son's only 19 years older, 18 years older than her daughter. Like, she's not old at all. Did she just leave? Oh, she cleaned the house first.
며칠이나 있었다고.
Yeah, but it
집이
was enough.
텅 빈 거 같으네.
I know. Empty nesting is hard for a lot of parents. Not really, though, Guanchik. Y'all had your first baby before your first anniversary, so you've pretty much always had kids around.
아주 작은 걸로도 틈이 되는
Exactly.
세상 불공평한 사이가 우리였다.
I mean, you could be nicer, Gumyong. That's on you. You could be nicer.
마음 독하게 먹어야지. 지 눈에 딱한 놈 천진이 저 소문도 돈질 날이 없지.
You know what, though? Look, has she ever gone without, though? Oh, God. Oh, it's her... Is that not her sister-in-law?
치고받지.
Or no?
잘 좀 살지. 잘 좀.
Isn't it?
목 좋은 자리 꽁으로 내주는 동네 깡패들은.
얘 나 여기 있어.
She knows.
저 키워준 값을 내놔도 모자랄 판에
That is true.
내순 주머니가 지중년인 줄 알아.
She
내가
does.
뭐야?
너 저것도 뭔데?
That's right.
본 것도 장판에다 뒤집어 원적외선 같은 게 이제
She said take them back.
에휴, 다음엔 좀 빈손으로 오시고.
You're too nice, eh, son?
성격이 팔자다. 그치?
A little bit.
한 개만, 한 개만.
Oh, God.
아유,
Too old to be chasing after children like that, ma'am.
보고 애 옷을 어떻게 입혔냐고 물었어. 시집살이보다 더러워 죽겠다, 야.
You raised her like that. I'm sorry.
네 마누라 허리나 신경 써.
파스 붙이지 말고 침 맞으러 가요. 내가 데려다 주고 갈
Seriously.
테니까. 신사임당이 엄마 하재도 엄마랑 안
Oh,
받고
look at him
얘들아.
stealing lines of his daughter.
고래 자식도 떴어야 이런 거나 시키지.
네가 왜 호래 자식이야?
Oh, She said, don't you curse out my son like that. That's my job.
개소리들 말라 그래. 너는 효도도 했어.
Okay. You see how Guanchik's so used to just getting beaten? Just verbally abused. Seriously, all the women in his life have such a hard time just being straightforward with their kindness. It's always this backhanded stuff.
엄마가 좋은 거 한 그릇도 다 띄워줬잖아. 그때는 구구단도 못 뛰더니 이 새끼가 커서는 타짜가 되더라고.
I guess it's something. Let me be quiet.
어? 난 누구?
Does she just not talk
언니.
anymore?
어?
She probably remember a son.
다 뛰던 우리 엄마인데 우리 엄마 죽은 게 다 죽었네.
Has she, or she
아,
just
어째?
chosen not to talk to you anymore?
혜민이 나왔어요. 나.
The only grandchild she likes.
아무도 못 알아봐.
You sure? She seems pretty with it to me, actually.
이따가 밥 다 잡숫고. 왜 몰라?
See? She's choosing to be quiet.
우리 한규 딸.
Period. Y'all think she's fooled. Please. Pabuanya.
잘 사람이냐?
Exactly. Check in on the grandchild that actually did the things you hoped. Took your money and used it well.
너무 고달프냐? 왜? 뭐가 고달퍼? 뭐가 고달퍼?
She's like, I'm good.
고달프면 뭐 또 배해 주시게?
Jealous?
한규 딸 고달프다는 한마디엔 우리 엄마가 배 한 척을
Oh, you're still salty? Bro, it's been over 20 years. Let it go.
한번 며느리 더 고달파 죽겠으니까 나도 배 좀 해줍소. 나도.
아이씨.
She don't like any of y'all. I'm sorry. Respectfully.
이제
Right? You want me to take you out of this hellhole?
양서방 엄청 착하잖아. 내가 말하면 다 들어주잖아.
True.
싫어. 왜?
She said shit.
이해해드릴게. 봄에 적금 탈 거 하나 있거든. 그걸로 이번에는 꼭.
See, that's what it's like to take care of your elderly. Sir?
나 새이빨 다 나게 해줬었잖아.
앞니 빠진 갈거지
Oh, I don't like this method. All of my teeth came out because they just came out. If they got really bad, I would just pull them. But that yanking method, the trauma was watching other kids go through that. Hell no.
쟤부터 해 쟤부터 쟤도 흔들려
Damn.
아픈 거 안 아픈 거
She said, let somebody else do it.
네가 그걸 왜 거야?
Guanchik said, we're going to suffer together, baby.
오빠
They're
먼저
so
해.
cute.
오빠 먼저 해
And she said, you go ahead and suffer first, babe. Respectfully.
안 무서워?
He is.
너는 안 무서워?
He is. That's never stopped Guanchik before, though.
그 마당서 이런 천치를 주워왔나?
She's like, I don't even know where he came from. I woke up one day and he was there. Ooh! She gotcha.
앞니 빠진 강생이가 언제 요만큼 커가지고
Moment of clarity.
내가 다 안다.
Probably.
이름이나 한번 크게 부르면서
Oh, her son. I didn't even think about that.
한평생
That they share that experience of losing a child.
그래 더 미안하지. 네 속 내가 안다.
She does. Probably one of the few people who knows exactly how you feel. She needed that. Glad it shows too. You never get too old to need that
내가 다 안다.
maternal influence.
할머니 무릎에서
Where did everybody go? All these people just disappear the second real emotions start to show.
그 좋아하는 한규 딸인데
She doesn't want to. Please be careful with that. Please be careful with that. Why do I feel like they're foreshadowing a fire?
아이 배도 사주는데 뭐가 어려워. 그냥 소녀 밥상도 좀 받아보시지.
I can't believe that man is still whining about the damn boat. Get a job.
이제 올라가면 한규한테 혼날 일밖에 없다.
Highly doubt it.
참 잘 오겠다.
Why is she talking like it's her last night? Oh, I don't like it, but real. And she's already had her photo taken. Come on, show. You're gonna transition to her funeral, aren't you?
아무렴 분홍이 좋지. 나 잘 사람 짓냐?
You did. You did your best. Ooh, not the soft lighting. Well done. I knew the transition to the funeral was gonna happen.
인생 아주.
That's a beautiful epitaph, actually. She had a long life, though. We don't know her exact age, but I'm thinking she was definitely in her 80s, at least, which, for that time period, that's a long life.
할머님, 아버님.
Well, yeah, his dad was such a non-presence. Guanchik's dad, really, in this series. He seemed like he was a cool guy, though, pretty chill.
나 며느리가 어멍 며느리보다 위는 위였어. 그치?
She didn't lie. You can still do better, though, ma'am. Yeah.
일을 해서 가셨어야지.
It's okay. I feel like she knows you loved her in your own very interesting way.
꼭 같이 가자.
Can we not talk about our deaths yet, please? We all know it's coming, but please. Y'all still young, please.
새로 소풍으로는 계절이었다.
Their big baby.
별거 다 했어.
그래 뭐
What's going on?
충성하고 들어오게.
Or is the girl out there? What's going on, Young?
뭔 짐이 저렇게 많아?
He's got his girl. He went to get his girl.
왜 뭐 있어?
Someone.
안녕하세요.
Listen, he loved her. You knew he loved her. It could be worse.
아이고,
Is she pregnant? Open the coat, ma'am. Open the coat. Yeah. It's the family's happening. Yeah.
너는 왜 거기다 손을 갖다 올리고 그러니?
You know why.
나안 두고 싶어.
이제 할머니 할아버지야.
You knew it was gonna happen one day.
우리 한방의 할머니야.
Strikey?
최전방 언땅에서도 귀엽고 새싹은
Sir,
고개를
he's your son to a T. Put it down. Put it down. Put it down, Guanxing. He took in your footsteps. At least he waited till he was grown. At least he waited till he was in his 20s. You didn't even get out of your teens. Can't be mad at him. Can't be mad at him. He tried. You know, they waited. They waited a long time. Ooh, haircut. Cute. Is her painter man back yet? We don't even know exactly. I don't remember the year that he went into the military, but he should be out by now. Is that him with a haircut? Oh, not passing ships. Or run to the next stop. See how that military training, if it whipped you into shape. You've got to be kidding. There's no freaking way that this would happen. Is this God telling you that this is not the time, sir? Come on, bro. A red light's got to happen at some point. Come on, don't give up.
벨롱벨롱한
A
겨울.
dazzling oh, good. We have a happy season coming. That's what I like to hear. Well, he didn't give up. He's still running. He'll get the next stop. Oh, that was a cute ending. That was a cute ending to what was definitely a bit of a heavier episode, but beautiful. Honestly, I like the title of a glistening. I feel like the glistening part was the overall kind of the warmth. That was the theme of this particular episode. Wow. I think, yeah, this one to me, it was again, on the Gumyoung side of things for her, I think it was about, you know, mourning the loss of her first love. Like that's just a real thing. You could see she fell into a bit of a depression. She was scared people were judging her for calling off an engagement with someone she'd been with for so long. And I just love that she kind of, you know, the way she described it, that after so many weeks of her kind of moping, or months actually, she just said she just felt hungry one day. That's the way she described it. But honestly, her hunger was, she just wanted to be around her parents, right? Like that's so real. She wanted a comfortable place where she could just finally kind of feel safe to just let the last of her everything, you know, the pain, the sadness, the disappointment, all of that, and to just be taken care of. And honestly, she's so fortunate that she had that soft place to go because, you know, if we're looking at the length of this story, you know, Aesun never had that, right? Unfortunately, Aesun she lost her soft place at such a young age, right? Her dad passed when she was very young. Her mom passed when she was very young. So she never really got a chance to have that soft place to land when she was scared. I mean, eventually she had Guanxik, of course, and that's kind of one of the good things about them getting married so young, is that at least she had him. And we saw those moments, right? We saw like when before, I think it was before Young was born, and she was fretting over, you know, we can barely afford rice, you're not working and stuff, and she just said to him, like, can you just pat my back and hold me, right? Like, A-Sun, you know, was able to get that from Guanxik to a degree, but it would have been nice to have that maternal experience, right? Because, you know, I think all of us know, like, if you're fortunate enough to have a mom who you had a good relationship with and you grew up with her, you know that there's just no comfort like a mom's comfort, right? The way that your parents fuss over you, it's such a blessing. And when you're young, you take it for granted because it's always been there, and you just think, oh, it's always going to be there. But as you get older, you start to realize what a privilege it is to have somebody fuss over you, to have somebody who's going to make sure that you eat, to make sure that you're warm, and make sure that you're healthy. And if you are going through something, you just know that they're going to take care of you. And so, yeah, Gumyoung kind of just needed that. She didn't want to admit it, of course, because when you want to feel like you're a big grown adult, you kind of feel like, oh, am I going backwards by, you know, going back to my parents and letting them kind of coddle me a bit? But it's not. It's a privilege. As I said, it's a privilege for those who are able to have both parents for a long time, to know that you have that comfort zone when you're really going through something. So yeah, we see that Gumyoung got that time to kind of recover. And you know, of course, her parents were overfeeding her for all intents and purposes, but, you know, she needed it. She clearly hadn't been eating well. She was not taking good care of herself in her depression. So her parents just, you know, feeding her up. As she said, they wouldn't let 1 pound of me be lost. And just making sure she was okay, and knowing her, right? They know her so well. And she thinks that she's, you know, got all these secrets from her parents. So that, you know, and that's one of the biggest myths that we have as kids too. So a lot of times we think our parents don't really know us, and a lot of times we're shocked. We are quite shocked to know just how well our parents do know us, but they just kind of give us space. You know, a lot of times they let you kind of do your own thing. And, but they know, right? Parents, they've watched you from before you even knew you were being watched. And so that's why we knew, like with A-Sun, she was like, she knew that her daughter was going through something. She knew her daughter would show up at some point. She knew that her daughter would begrudgingly eat all her food, you know, and complain about it, but still eat it and be thankful for it. She knew her daughter was going to sleep better than ever there. The fact that both her parents knew she wasn't going to go through with the wedding and never sent out the invitations she sent to put, you know, to send to the village. Like all those things they knew. And then I thought one of the beautiful moments of this episode was the the Guanxik and Gumyoung moment where where he masterfully manipulated her into getting up at the crack of dawn to come out on the boat with him. You know, I've said that, you know, his whole life, Guanxik has dealt with people who are rather blustery in the way that they interact with people, right? His mom, his grandmother, you know, they're very at him, very like yelling. And, you know, again, they didn't always mean it in a mean way, but like he's just used to that energy. And he just kind of learned, much like I think his father was. We didn't see a lot of his dad, but we never heard from his dad either. So I think he kind of learned from his dad that sometimes you just need to be quiet and let people say things, and you know, they'll eventually come around. And yeah, we saw that, you know, Gumyoung was a little bit snappy when he woke her up in that morning, but he just kind of quietly left, like, oh, okay, I'll leave. And he knew that she'd feel bad about barking at her. Because like I said, you can't yell at a puppy. Guanxik has been a giant golden retriever his whole life. You can't yell at a puppy and feel okay, right? So of course, Gumyoung felt bad for snapping at her dad. And because I don't think he ever yelled at her. No, I think he saved all of his yelling for him. But yeah, like he just kind of went out and sat quietly waiting, and she showed up. She's like, you knew I'd come. And he's like, maybe. I don't know. But that was really cute. But anyway, that moment, I really liked the whole thing of him bringing her out there and kind of getting her to a place where she was away from everything. I mean, girl, I get the appeal of the ocean. I can't do it because I get seasick, but I get the appeal of how, like, yes, it's scary in some ways, but it's very peaceful. And I totally understand, honestly, why why Guanxik has probably always taken a bit of solace out there. Like, because, you know, you heard Gumyoung being like, why are you always out here so early? Why do you work so hard? Like, aren't you tired of working hard? And, you know, he gave his reasons, which, you know, we all understand. Like, he didn't look at it as a burden. He looked at it as his responsibility, right? He wanted this family badly, and he wants to make sure they have everything. But considering, as I said, that everyone, not everyone, but a lot of the people in Guanxic's life are very, very loud and very vocal. He probably takes a lot of solace in the peace of the ocean. It's probably his little me time as well, to kind of gather himself and kind of calm himself down before he's got to deal with the inevitable chaos of his house. But anyway, yeah, him taking her out for that moment was just beautiful. And just they got a chance to connect and talk in a way they probably haven't in a long time. And even though Gumyoung is more temperamentally like her mom, I think she's a lot like her dad in the softness, right? She's very soft-hearted, and she, even though she is a terrible way of showing it sometimes, she does love her parents to death, and she appreciates them to death. And yeah, they kind of just talked it out there. And he kind of said his whole thing of, yeah, if you'd been born to a richer family, maybe you would have more things. And it was interesting because all the things that he said that a rich parent would have done for her, he's done for her. Both A-Sun and him have done everything for their kids. Yeah, they didn't live in the lap of luxury. They didn't have every little thing they wanted. Yeah, they probably had to go with things that weren't the nicest, but as I've said in multiple episodes, neither of those kids have ever gone without a roof, ever gone without food, ever gone without clothing, ever gone without the needs that they had, like their basic needs. And they even had a few nice things here and there, right? Maybe not luxuries, but Gumyoung having her little bike, and their son, I think always had like toys and things like that. The point is, it wasn't like they were living hand to mouth their whole life. They did quite well. And so I love that, in the end, Gumyoung's like, I wouldn't trade you for 100 rich dads. Like, you are the perfect dad for me. So anyway, and then I like them seeing the sunrise and everything. Like, sunrises usually symbolize a new beginning or hope. So I think that her dad knew exactly what to do by bringing her out there and letting her see that, even though things feel a little dark right now, sun always rises, always comes up every day, no matter what's going on. So anyway, that was a beautiful moment, and I like that they got to have their little bonding moment there. And then later on, we see that her and her mom had a really good moment, and, again, about not sending out the invitations. Her mom just basically giving her some, encouragement that it's time to kind of move on from the breakup and, start moving, forward in her life. She's had a decent grieving period, but she's young. Like she said, you're so young, you're beautiful. Well, I think personally, I don't think age makes you less beautiful, but you know what I mean. She's like, yeah, you're young, you're beautiful. Like, don't waste your youth and all this time with being sad over something that was not for you, right? In the end, that marriage was not going to be the right move for you. You would have been miserable if you had done that, and it's time to move on. And so yeah, and then just her, A-Sun letting her know that she remembers everything and that she's treasured every moment. Gumyoung needs to hear that, right? Because I think she sometimes thinks her parents... Gumyoung's an interesting character because she's very aware. Thankfully, she's self-aware of the fact that she could be better to her parents in the sense of how she treats them. She doesn't mistreat them per se, but she could be kinder. She could be less abrasive. She could be a little less combative sometimes, but... she knows that, and at least she's aware, and she does sometimes think, obviously, that her parents must think ill of her because of it. But, I think she's hearing her mom say that, she recognizes that her mom really, both of her parents, they don't hold anything against her. They understand her very well. And so, yeah, like we see that even though she was ready to go home, she cleaned up the whole house and she made sure to leave her parents some gifts because that's her way of kind of showing that she loves them. And you saw it. Her mom broke down in tears, right? She's like, I did like, in Gumyoung's words, she's like, I gave them like 100% when they give me 120 and that's fine. And it's like, yeah, right? That's, again, they know that it's not about the gifts. They just know that their daughter loves them. And it's like her dad said, like, you've always been a good kid. You get good grades. No one ever has anything bad to say about you. You've always been like a exemplary daughter. Like, those are ways to pay your parents back for their efforts and their kindness, is by living the best life you can, right? That's what they want. And so anyway, just really nice heartwarming stuff with Gumyoung and her parents this episode. And I like that they got the chance to kind of reconcile all of that and to do it together. And yeah, Gumyoung needed that. She kind of needed that hard reset from that toxic period post breakup that she was kind of falling into. And again, it was just a beautiful moment that the family got to bond together over. And then on A-Sun's side of things, we see that her grandmother was still alive, which I did not figure that would be the case. That yeah, her grandmother was still alive on her mom's side, or on her dad's side, my apologies. And yeah, like she was getting up there, and it's interesting that people thought she was getting dementia, but I'm like, that's not the vibe I was getting from her at all. I'm like, I'm getting that she's kind of just choosing her last moments a little bit more wisely. Like she's been in this family where, they've had a very interesting dynamic, and she's described in the past that, obviously she loves her family, but it's been a rough time, losing her son, then having her other son who essentially freeloaded off of his entire life, raised a child that sadly didn't look like he did much better. But I mean, how could he when that was the example he grew up with? But anyways, I'm not saying she had a bad life, but it wasn't an easy one. And I think she just, as her age started to catch up with her, she just kind of chose not to engage with people that didn't necessarily bring her the most joy. And yeah, I wasn't surprised. I knew for the second that A-sun showed up, she would know who A-sun is and everything, because A-sun is absolutely, out of her family line currently, she's kind of the shining jewel, right? And it's not to say the rest of her family are not good people. We don't know much about her grandkids and great-grandkids, but point is, A-sun has always been a particular special person in her life, outside of the fact that it's the one child of her late son. A-sun she's known since A-sun was a child that she's been a hardworking, kind, good girl, right? She's never had to worry about A-sun. And even though, like, the only person who complained about A-sun was actually her son, like, she never complained about her because A-sun was always a good kid. When she lived with them, she helped out with her cousins, and she helped out with her grandmother. She was always helping around the house. She was the maid because her uncle made her one. But point being, she's always been a good kid. And, thankfully, grandma always recognized that. And also, I think she had a very special relationship with A-sun's mother because, A-sun's mom was always looking out for her too. And so anyways, I thought that was kind of, sweet when A-sun came, and she's still looking out for her, right? Despite, I mean, of course she is, because of, multiple reasons. I mean, her grandmother was never mean to her, but, obviously her grandmother giving her life savings that allowed them to buy the boat, which allowed them to effectively be able to support their family. Of course, that's a debt that's pretty much impossible to repay. But anyway, A-sun's still looking out for her, getting her the heated sleeping mat so she could be comfortable, wanting to buy her the dentures, like all these things that her own son should have been doing. But anyways, I just thought it was a beautiful conversation about them, talking and how A-sun looks out for her. But then really the heartbreaking part, and that got me a little choked up, was, talking about how, I didn't really even think about it, but how that grandmother understands A-sun on a very intimate level as far as the losing a child, a son in particular. Because I didn't really think about it, right? Because I mean, obviously I knew, but I really didn't think about that association. But it's so true. Like in A-sun's life, in her intimate life, there's not a lot of people who know what she went through, right? As much as people offer sympathy and, obviously we're there for her, they really don't know what she was going through. They really don't know how she feels. And, when you're going through something as horrible and also unique as losing a child, unique in the sense of the experience if no one else has gone through it, it's kind of hard to relate. And I think that A-sun did her best. We saw that. She did her best to move forward, but as a couple episodes ago, we heard, she doesn't even say her son's name for the most part. She doesn't talk about him because it's that hard. But I said it's not healthy for her not to do that. I really hope she gets to the point maybe after this now to be a bit better about it. But anyway, I thought that was a beautiful, heartwarming conversation between her and her grandmother letting her know that I do know how you feel, like literally, exactly how you feel and how hard it is to even talk about it, to say his name, all those things. But she's like, I can see it. I can see past the smiles and everything else that there is still that shadow over your heart. And so anyway, I thought that was a beautiful moment where A-sun just literally curled up in the fetal position like a child and just let herself cry and grieve and just do what she needed to do again. Because a lot of people would say, it's been, we don't know how, I guess at this point it's been almost 20 years since it happened. But again, it never goes away. But yeah, I think it was just nice that she had a safe space, which again, this episode kind of had a theme of people finding their safe space. And she got to find that with her grandmother. And yeah, let out that grief. And hopefully, like I said, she'll be better about letting that out and talking about it with her kids as well as her husband too, because they're all still feeling it in one way or another. So anyway, that was a beautiful thing on that side. And then of course we see that her grandmother passed, but as I said, as sad as it is, she got a long life, which we've seen in this show is a blessing. Not a lot of people are blessed with being able to have a long, long life. And her grandmother, again, we didn't get her actual numbers, but I'm thinking she was in her 80s, probably knocking on 90. So that was a very long life, especially considering that she grew up in the generation where life expectancy was like in your 50s. So anyway, yeah, that happened. And also one of the Henrios passed away. I can't remember which one. I feel bad, but yes, she did pass. They said she was over 80. They were talking about how unfortunately her kids who've never even been around, but were always coming back for money, showed up and cried. But I'm like, I get what they were saying, but you know, that is sadly often the cycle of life, you know, as it goes. When you get older, your kids get wrapped up in their own lives, and it's not that they didn't love their mom, I'm sure, but you know, I understand what the Hanrios were talking about as well. Like, why can't you come back and check on your mom unless it was for money, right? But from what we saw of all those ladies, they're not the kind that really wanted the soft, tender moments between parent and child. But actually, that segues into a little small moment too that was really important with when Gumyoung and Gwanshik got back from their beautiful sunset sail. Mr. Former Chieftain, drunkard, falling apart there, he sees them, and like the fact that he's still so fixated on that family, his jealousy, you know, him asking Gumyoung all of her business like he has any entitlement to it. And I mean, of course she gives him some. I mean, personally, like you saw me, I was like, well, I would have ignored him, but I understand that in, you know, Korean society, it's very rude to ignore your elders, but I wouldn't have talked to him. I would have been like, boy, you're not my daddy, you're not my granddaddy, you have no relation to me. Well, now they do kind of through family now, but you know what I'm saying. But anyhow, the obsession that man still has, the fact that he was asking about Asun, right? And like, sir, that ship sailed. You're gonna have to let that go. That ship never even harbored for you, really. Asun was a drive-by in your life. Like, she had a moment of weakness and she snapped back, thank God, and married the man she was supposed to. Like, you need to let that go. But anyways, he clearly never did. And it's crazy. Like, he's in love with her. Like, it's, because I don't like him. That's why I'm cringing. But yeah, he is in love with her. He has been in love with her for like the past 30 plus years. And yeah, and clearly he's jealous. Like, he sees this family. He's jealous of Gwanshik as well. He knows that Gwanshik's the kind of man he should be, but, you know, can't bring himself to become. And you see when he goes home, right? Like, his wife... The way his wife is getting her silent revenge by just sitting there and watching this man deteriorate into nothing. You know, there's something very sinister about that, but I can't hate on her for it. I get it. Because, you know, you saw was it 2 episodes ago? Or maybe last episode, where her son, or her stepson really, was like, why don't you just leave him? Like, he's miserable. And she's like, I'm staying. And I mean, I got it, because I know some people probably like, why would she do that? But I know why. She is enjoying watching this man absolutely deteriorate. Right? Look at him. Look at it from what we saw when he first got introduced to us to how he is now. Aging terribly, an alcoholic, smoking God knows how many packs a day. Yeah, he's still out there womanizing when he can, but clearly these women want nothing to do with him after that because they realize he's useless. His kids all hate him. His boys, nowhere to be found. They said as soon as they were able to move out, they didn't want to have anything to do with him. They're about their stepmom. His daughter, the only one who hasn't moved out yet, again, probably because it doesn't look like she has anything beyond her high school education, but we all know why she was waiting for her man, right? She is obsessed with Eun-young, and I don't blame her. Like, that's a good kid. Eun-young, for all of his hijinks in high school, like if he's anything like his father, which he is, and interesting that Asun said this episode that if you want to know the kind of man you're gonna marry, look at his father. Eun-young ain't dumb. Her mama told her a long time ago, marry you a good man. And that's exactly what she got herself a good man. Kicking and screaming in the beginning. But yeah, like she was waiting on her man. But anyway, I thought it was funny how her dad was like trying to get her to go like, oh, well, what are you doing with your life these days? Oh, you want to go out on the boat with me one day? Like he's trying to like create a narrative with her that just was never true. And of course she was like, who are you? Like, what? What are you talking to me for? Like, go back to being drunk, right? And you know, to pay a little bit of devil's advocate for that man, even though not really, but a little bit of devil's advocate. I get that, you know, his generation was raised in such a way, and it's not just in Korea, like globally, that generation of men, for the most part, were raised that when it came to being fathers, their job was just to be like the breadwinner, and that the mom took care of the kids, and that, you know, when you got older, your kids would take care of you and bring the grandbabies, and everything was great and fine, right? That's kind of the way they were raised. I mean, he was particularly cantankerous, though, and abusive, so he already had those two things striking against him. But you know what I'm saying? Like, he really did. I really don't think he knew how to be a different kind of dad, because that's probably the way his father was. And now as he's getting older and he's recognizing that his kids are leaving, and the house is getting empty and that he doesn't. Now seeing way, like he said, like how Gum Young still holds her dad's hand, even though she's 28 years old, right? And his daughter probably hasn't held his hand since she was a child. But why would she, right? We found out all those episodes ago that he calls his kids by cuss words. So why would she ever want to hold your hand, sir? What gentleness and kindness and safety have you given her to make her want to feel like she wants to hold your hand, right? So he's now seeing, though, as he's getting older, and this happens to a lot of men and women too, who have been less than kind to the people in their lives, as they start to get older and realize that people are dying, people are leaving, you know, you're getting older and it's your world's starting to get a lot smaller and quieter. You start to realize that, oh wow, I could actually end up alone. And it's a very scary thought as people get older. And I think he's starting to get that realization now that, like I said, his son's gone, want nothing to do with him. His wife does not like him. She tolerates him, but she's made it abundantly clear she does not love that man, does not care for him. She's just there to watch him deteriorate and obviously probably collect on his pension as well, because he comes from a fairly, well-to-do family. She's not going to watch all that abuse. She said, I'm collecting. The second you drop dead, I'm collecting. That's why I'm staying here. She's doing her studies right now. You want to bet the second that man drops dead, she's going to use that money to help her pay for her business degree or whatever she's planning to do? Oh, okay. She's got plans. But anyway, back to him. That whole thing to me just showed that, like, he is starting to realize that his life is it's not tailing out at the end the way that he would have liked. You know, when he was young, his looks, his money, his station, it got him pretty far, but now those things are all fading away and their importance doesn't matter anymore. And he's realizing that the only people he could potentially be relevant to are his family, and none of them like him, right? And that's why I kept saying in the episode, look inward, buddy. You're blaming everyone else. You need to turn that mirror around and start looking at what the common denominator is. And, you know, it's probably too late. You know, honestly, I'm not saying he shouldn't try. Like, you know, now that he's got a grandchild, maybe his first grandchild on the way, he has a chance to potentially turn it around and at least be a good grandfather. But when it comes to his kids, like, that boat sailed, unfortunately. We're going to use the boat analogies because these are seamen. But anyway, you know what I mean? Like, the boat sailed. It's too late. I've seen it so many times with some parents that have just been so absent in their kids' lives through all their, growing up years. And then they try to come in late. Doesn't work, unfortunately. Your kids, they've grown up without you. They've learned how to shape their life without you. And you can't just butt in late and hope that they're just going to accept you. Like, sometimes they might, but most times you're going to have to just live with the fact that you're going to be kind of an outsider in their world. So anyway, very interesting little side thing there. But we see that, of course, that was also to let us know that, is it Hyunok? I think it's Hyunok is her name, that she's part of the family now. She is part of the Yang family, or her child will be. So it is what it is. As I said, I think, while I understand the parents' trepidation of being tied to that man forever, it is what it is. And again, the girl seems nice enough. Like, yeah, she's a little spicy, but we already know the Yang men like their women spicy. So there's nothing new there, right? So anyways, as I said, and honestly, it's not her fault that her dad's useless. Like, she seems to understand her dad ain't nothing, and she's not defending that man or his behavior. So I don't think there'll be a problem, honestly. So let's hope not anyway. But yeah, that's what's going on there. And that kind of dovetails into, Young, he went to the military. He's out. And as we see, he's now about to be a dad. I don't know if they got married or not, but I'm pretty sure they probably did something quick, or they're about to. But as I said, he's following in his dad's footsteps. If they're not married, his dad got his mom pregnant before they got married too. So he's just carrying on the Yang family. He is, actually. I just thought about that because I forgot that Guanxic's dad did the same thing. So it's Yang man family's tradition. You get your wife pregnant before you marry her. It is what it is. But yeah, so I think those are the main things that came out of this episode that was nice. Yeah, like I said, just a beautiful episode on reflection and finding safe spaces, safe harbors, and just kind of being able to move forward. And I love that they said that thankfully we're coming into another warm season here, with spring. Spring is new beginnings, it's new life. It's spring right now, actually. So I completely see that analogy and appreciate it. But yeah, another great episode, honestly. Very touching. And I love that we got healing for not only Gum-young in this one, but Asun as well. And good. I enjoyed it a lot. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching along with me. If you did, please show some love, and I will see you in the next one.